Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Locked In Podcast. I'm Taylor.
And I'm Rich.
Hello. I haven't planned anything for this week, so we're going to see what we talk about. First topic is, how would you rate Spurs' transfer window?
Well, as I said just a moment ago to you, I did have a rant for this podcast, which is Spurs' inability to complete a simple transfer window. I mean, Eze, as you've just seen, is going to Arsenal after I said to you the other day, I think that deal's pretty much done. But you look at the players that we have not been able to sign over the years through Daniel Levy, and I was reading an interesting article about how hated he is by so many clubs, so many owners, and I think it's hampering our ability to get these players. It's, you know, he's a great businessman and he's really good at getting good deals when we do sign players most of the time. But it seems like now we can't sign the players we want. You look at Morgan Gibbs-White, that deal, like, ridiculous. You look at Eze, you look at, historically, Hazard, you look at all of these players that we've tried to sign and just not been able to. I mean, the Hazard deal was done. And then he ends up going to Chelsea the next day. Eze, done. He ends up going to Arsenal the next day. We can't keep doing this. We need to identify who we want and then sign them. Not keep begging, trying to get $1 million off, $5 million off. If he's the right player, you've got to sign him. And it is frustrating because now we're at that point where we're scrambling to try and find someone to fill. We've got, I read Kulusevski might not be back till the start of the new year. Which, that's a huge blow. Madders is out for 7 months, I would imagine.
Minimum.
You've got no Kulusevski. I'm not saying you haven't got squad depth there that can sort of deal with it, but if you want to push, he said the other day he wants to win the Champions League and the Premier League. Well, you need your best players for that, and you need the best players in the world to be winning the two probably biggest, hardest trophies to win. So you need to be signing the players. I'm not saying Eze is that player, but at the end of the day, if he's the one you've identified, you go and fucking get him. And it is just frustrating. I mean, So I think there was good stuff. I mean, Richarlison, I watched him in the opening game of the season, looks like he's had a new lease on life. 2 goals, second one was spectacular. And his all-round play was great. I think Kudus, I said in a previous podcast that I wasn't sure of that signing. He looks like a weapon. He looks hungry. He looks like his focus is in the right place. And, that is a very enjoyable sort of thing to see. So I'm not massively worried at the minute. I mean, we got the test Saturday, 12:30, Man City. That'll be a big one.
Not?
Yeah, so that's going to be a big... See where we're at. But yeah, it's definitely been a frustrating one for me. How do you think United have done? I imagine you must be quite happy.
I'm not as happy as you'd imagine. I'm very happy with who they've signed. And I think that the most pressing problems was the lack of a striker and just an attacking force in general. So I think that signing those 3 is good. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to knock that, but the problem is that before the window even opened, they identified 5 players that they wanted to get rid of, and they needed to get rid of because they're a bad influence, and 4 of them are still at the club.
Is Anthony still there?
Yes, because basically the Betis have got Man United's what in a vice, because Anthony only wants to go to Betis, and then Betis have come back and said, well, you can have a loan with an obligation to buy, or you can have half of what he's worth right now.
What would the obligation to buy be?
I don't know. Probably 30, I would have thought. But how has it got to the point where a Tim Pot team in Spain is dictating to Man United how they make their transfers? Like, I don't get that. And the same thing with Sancho, is it looks like Sancho's going to stay and he's just going to rot. Which is a pain in the arse. It's a lot of money. Is he's on. I don't know if he's actually on because I've quoted on here before that he was on 350 a week. I don't think he is. I think he's on close to 250. But even so, it's £1 million a month. It's £12 million a year. It's a lot of money, even if it is as low as. But you know what I mean.
Relative.
So yeah, I think that, and they've still got two really, but one glaringly obvious need, and they haven't addressed it, and it doesn't look like they're going to address it, which is a goalkeeper. We saw, I was hoping that Bindia would do a job against Arsenal. I know it's against Arsenal, but you've got to play them all twice a year, so. And he was shit. He was terrible. He looked like he was way out of his depth.
I watched that game, and I don't really remember too much sort of him, bar obviously the sort of goal, but yeah, it's.
And I think they still do need a midfielder that suits the system a bit more, because I think that there are good and bad aspects of the midfielders we've got, but I wouldn't say that any of them are what Amorim particularly wants. I think Bruno's good for sort of the progressive passes and things like that. Casemiro's good at winning the ball back, but other than Ugarte, there's no one really that's got the legs to run an Amorim midfield, because it's so open that you need a good engine. And obviously we spoke about it last time, the Baleba, whatever his name is, and it turns out to be complete bollocks. All of it was complete bollocks. There was never a fee quoted, there was never a bid put in, it was all just waffle, basically. From who I don't know, but the other two I've heard mentioned are Humland, the Sporting one, and Adam Wharton. The problem is Crystal Palace have just lost Eze. They're gonna lose Gahey. I can't see them letting Wharton go as well.
It will be expensive.
He'll be 80 million north of probably 70, 80 million. I would have thought. Homeland I think is a little bit more achievable, but Sporting Lisbon are notoriously difficult to deal with.
Is he good enough?
Who knows? Is Wharton good enough to know what he looks good in that Crystal Palace team, but the likes.
He's still young though, isn't he? I mean, Wharton's 21.
Yeah, I mean Homeland's only 24.
Yeah,
so it's not, I think, or 25. So I don't think it's a matter of age. I think it's just a matter of profile and being able to handle the pressure, because there's a very different level of. The lights are a lot brighter in Old Trafford than they are at Selhurst Park. Nothing against Crystal Palace, but they are.
I just think as well, as you've seen with United, is they get a lot more scrutiny media-wise than probably any team in the Premier League. Yeah, probably any 100%. Team in the world. Maybe only Real Madrid are on that.
So Real Madrid get the level of scrutiny?
Yeah, they probably don't, but... in the world, United, no matter what they do, good or bad, it seems like there is always that something negative that somebody wants to go at them for. And
the problem is that Man United get pimped out a lot in terms of generating clicks.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you saw in the last 2 days, this seems to have happened every year for the past 5 years. But Man United have apparently been offered Adrien Rabiot.
From PSG?
No, he's at Marseille now, isn't he?
Oh, is he?
Yeah. And this has happened definitely the last 3 years. I don't know about maybe 4 and 5, but all that is Man United wouldn't touch him with a 10-foot barge pole. He is a nightmare of a player. His mum's his agent. Apparently she's impossible to deal with. He's a twat. It's like there's no way that Man United will. But what people do and what agents do is they involve Man United, and suddenly everyone's talking about it because it's the buzzword. It's Man United, and what they're doing basically is piggybacking how popular Man United are in order to generate interest in their player. Because what some teams will do, like whether it's Saudi or whoever, wherever he ends up going, I'll go, well, fuck, if Man United are in for him, then we better get a shift on.
Yeah. We can beat United to the punch, and
his wages go up, the fee goes up. It's just like it was never a thing, and that's why you have to be really careful with believing these transfer rumours. I mean, you look at how many years in a row Wesley Sneijder was linked with Man United.
Yeah.
And it was like, he's definitely coming this year. He's definitely coming this year. He was never going to come to Man United.
Never.
And it's just like that's what is tricky being a Man United fan and seeing, like, especially that Baleba news, and that looked like it had legs. And you know, it comes to it, and then they're like, well, no, they never put a bid in, and we never told them how much.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, well, why say it then? Because Man United fans are all thinking, our midfield is going to look completely different. You know, Bruno Baleba or whoever, it's going to look brilliant. And then it's just like, no, we're stuck with fucking Casemiro and Kobbie Mainoo, and nothing wrong with Kobbie Mainoo or Casemiro, but it's just like,
Yeah.
realistically, if they, you know, it seems like it's weighted now. The attack, we have got a Rolls Royce of a front three now, and
If Sesko can start firing,
Sesko will start firing.
I hope so. He's in my fantasy team, and I think
He's
that's
also in mine.
yeah, that's been a big debate here in the office. Is you know, attacking people in fantasy, and I think
I have a bet on with one of our colleagues. He's a Liverpool fan. I am a Man United fan. Who will score more, Ekitike or Sesko?
so far Ekitike is winning.
Yes. But Man United are yet to score a goal.
So I think it will come. I like Sesko, and I think he's going to offer dimensions to that team that just, you know, with his pace, his power,
His height as well.
Yeah.
He's massive. I didn't realise I knew he was 6'4", 6'5", but he looks massive on the pitch.
He does. He looks like a unit, and you know, I remember when we signed Crouchy, and it gives defences other things. So when you've got a 5'10" striker, they're not worried about an aerial battle. You know, you're worrying about someone running in behind you, but suddenly you've got a man that's quick, that's powerful, that's technically able with a ball at his feet, and then is also 6'5" and probably taller than the majority. Have said we don't have that many massive centre backs in the league. You've got a couple, but a lot of them are 6'1", 6'2". You've got 3 inches.
Have you ever seen him jump as well?
Yeah.
He's got a leap on him,
Yeah.
I tell you. It's mad.
You know, so I think it just puts another worry in a defender's mind. So I'm excited to see him starting games, really getting that run going. Because I can't see, once he's up to scratch, I can't see how he doesn't play every game.
Well, every game, I mean, yeah, because they've only got one game a
Yeah.
week, because they're at Europe. I can see him starting the majority of games, because unless they sign another one, if Højlund goes, which he wasn't even in the squad in the Arsenal game, so it looks like he's going, which I'm a little bit gutted about.
Would that be a loan or is that permanent, do you think?
It would probably be a loan with an obligation. I think AC Milan is what I'm hearing. But the thing is, AC Milan are fighting an uphill battle because Højlund doesn't want to go. And if I was them, I wouldn't really want to push for a player that doesn't want to sign for you. Do you know what I mean? Because it's never his heart's never going to be in it. It's exactly what Man United said about all the signings they've made. Unless they come out publicly and say they want to play for Man United, then we're not going to buy you. And I think that's a good way to be because then you don't end up with knobheads in your team like Garnacho and Rashford.
Sitting on a bench and going, I'm going to stay here and take the money and do absolutely fuck all for it. So,
and I think we finally learnt our lesson of stop buying players from Real Madrid. Because they got offered Camavinga, apparently. £80 million or something like that. Which sounds great, but why would Real Madrid get rid of a 24-year-old who started 30-plus games last year unless there was something wrong? And he is very injury-prone. And I think that they are the masters of getting rid of players at exactly the right time. Look at what they did with us with Casemiro and Varane. They both deteriorated within 12 months.
yeah.
So I would not be touching Camavinga with...
And especially when
anything.
you look at the midfielders they've had with Kroos, with Modric, that have played so long there, they have no issue with keeping players for a very long time. So if they're willing to get rid of 80 million, seems a bit cheap, doesn't it? If he is, he was marvelled as one of the, the next generation of great midfielders. So if they're willing to and actively trying to push that deal, that's red flags, isn't it? And
100%.
You'd have to be worried with that. But
yeah, I'm hoping that Man United can get some sort of goalkeeper over the line. Whether it's a case of this Sene Lamans guy on like buy him, loan him back for a year or whatever. I think Man United fans just want a light at the end of the tunnel. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? Of getting over Onana and Bayindir because they are dog. They are awful.
Do you think there's no way back for Onana?
No.
You think that's just done?
He doesn't
now?
have the fundamentals of a goalkeeper.
What, being able to stop a ball from going in his net?
Exactly. And having hands that aren't made of jelly and stuff like that. It's just not. He's not.
It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because, I remember before you signed him, he was like got Golden Glove, wasn't he? Was it the World Cup, the Euros, the World Cup?
No. He's Ghanaian, isn't he? They weren't in the World Cup.
Did they not make it? It must have been the African Cup of Nations.
It might have been the AFCON, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure he got like Golden Glove at that, and
the goalkeeping's not notoriously good at the AFCON, is it?
no, but still, you would expect a keeper to do that, to have at least the fundamentals of being able to produce a goalkeeping display.
I mean, he was the goalkeeper in the Champions League final the
Yeah.
season before Man United bought him. I don't think Man United were wrong in buying a keeper of that calibre. I just don't think that Onana was. It was all Ten Hag because he played for him at Ajax. And that's all Ten Hag wanted to do, was reassemble that Ajax team. Because that's why he bought in De Ligt, Mazraoui, he tried to bring in Frankie de Jong, he bought in Anthony, he bought in Weghorst, it's living in the past, man. It's like, and he bought in Onana. And it's just like, it's not, he was never the sort of keeper that would work in the Premier League. Other than teams like Man City, because I don't think Ederson's a very good goalkeeper, a proper fundamental goalkeeper. He's terrible.
Got a good back four though, hasn't
But
he?
exactly, that's the thing. They don't need a world class shot stopper. They need the distribution to get the attack going because they've got the players to do that. Man United don't have that. It may be the case that Onana would work in the Real Madrid team or something like that. Do you know what I mean? Because
A
of
lower pressure team.
Yeah, he may well work in that, but he certainly isn't the keeper that Man United need. They need a fundamental keeper. That's why De Gea worked for so long, because he was an unbelievable fundamental keeper.
Yeah.
And I think that's what they need to go back to. We've heard the stir-ins of Donnarumma and stuff like this, and I don't think that's going to happen. But even if it's...
Would you not look at a Premier League goalkeeper, someone that's already there?
The issue is who?
I mean, I think Dean Henderson moved, didn't he? But, someone like Henderson, like
Hendo,
Pope, like...
I like Hendo, I like Pope, but they're not good enough.
Just one of these to get you through that can do a job as a keeper. A Pickford, someone like that who's probably... They're not going to be a keeper for the next 10 years, but for a season or two, they're going to do a job. They're going to shore that leaky...
With the amount of money you'd pay and the amount of money you'd pay them... I think you're better off getting someone like this Belgian guy, even if it is sending him back on loan to Royal Antwerp for a year, and doing basically what Liverpool did. I mean, Liverpool were in a better position because they had Alisson, and when they signed Mamadashvili, but they were in serious trouble at one point when I think Kelleher got injured as well, didn't he?
Yeah,
and they were. I think Andy Lonergan played a game.
It was,
yes,
it was, yeah.
It was, yeah. So it was like you can't rely on it. So I don't think they're going to get rid of anyone. But I would hope that even if it is the case that they're not coming in this season as the number one, that they get someone, that Man United fans can fucking hope, and because it just feels.
You just don't want to have to write another season off.
That team is never going to feel complete with Onana or Bindier in goal. I would honestly, if I was Amorim this season, this Fulham game that's coming up at the weekend as we're recording, I would start Tom Heaton. Genuinely.
He said this to me the other day and I was like...
Because you've tried the other two and they're not good enough. Try the third one. Do you know what I mean?
Keep trying.
I'm not joking. If that's not good enough, they've got a kiddie out on loan who looks pretty good called Radek Vitek. And he's been at the club for the last 3 or 4 years. And he looks good in the youth teams. And they've loaned him out the last 2 seasons and he's played well. Give him a chance. They had...
Can't do any worse.
On the books, a couple of years ago, I think Ten Hag got rid of him. They had Mataš Kovar, the Bayer Leverkusen keeper. They had him on the books and they sold him. Or they let him go on a free. I'm like, give him a chance. Do you know what I mean? This is what I mean. This Vitek guy, if they can't sign a keeper, keep him out on loan this season and just bring him in next year. Just give him a go.
Yeah.
If you can't afford to get a world-class keeper, then try and find the next world-class keeper, which is what I think they're trying to do with this Lamens.
Yeah.
But yeah, genuinely, I would give the experience a go. Tom Heaton was in the
will do a job.
Was in the team of the season as of 5 or 6 years ago. Now I know that's 5 or 6 years ago, but the man's got a lot of Premier League experience. He looked good in pre-season.
He's not going to set the world on fire, but
No,
he
of
can
course
stop
he's
the ball
not.
from going in the net.
But he's a better fundamental keeper than the other two. So I was like, just give him a run out. Do you know what I mean? It can't be any worse. It can't be.
You say that now.
But
I definitely agree. Like sometimes I think you've got to look at what you have got in the team, in the squad, and just go, if they're not working, you can't keep flogging a dead horse and keep trying people that are not doing a job and can't do a job because they're just not that type of person. So, yeah, give the next man a go. Or I know, I did see the other day actually that JJ Gabriel?
Yeah,
Your young lad, he's been promoted to training with the first team now for the season.
Do you know how old he is?
I'm gonna go. I don't know the answer to this, but I'm gonna guess, and I'm gonna say 15.
He's 40.
My son is
That's
14
mad,
in October, and I cannot imagine him.
I think he's 40. He might have turned 15 since.
Yeah.
But even so, training he is special. Do you know what I mean? But I'm not going to put any weight behind it because we've had a string of players that have looked. Charlie McNeil looked unreal when he was in the academies. He's now playing, I think, Port Vale.
Yeah.
Hannibal came in, tried to get in the first team, couldn't. Now plays at Burnley. Fair enough, he's playing quite well for Burnley, but it's Burnley. There's a multitude of them because for every Cheeto or Aiden Heaven, who technically aren't even really academy products because we bought them from Arsenal, but for every one of them, there's
such a golfing
there's a Will Fish.
I watched quite a bit of the Spurs sort of youth teams and stuff, and a lot of them you go, oh mate, this kid looks good, like he's got talent and that at that level.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm not saying Jack Wilshere never did it, but he got to and he just couldn't get any higher. And I know he's played with injuries and everything, but you know what I mean? I just think fundamentally, like that was the level that he could get to. And I think with some of these younger players that come through, they look really, really good at their age groups. As soon as you get into men's and into the first team, it's just worlds different.
Yeah,
I mean, some push on and end up at a Burnley, and you go fair play. You're still doing well.
Still young,
and might progress up to maybe like mid-table or top 6 team or something, but maybe not the top teams. But I think you've got to give him a chance. That's what I like. And when I read that, I was like, I'm happy with that because he probably won't play, but he might be on the bench for a few games. What great experience for a young lad. Yeah. If he gets a cup game or something, gets a 20-minute run
10
out.
10 minutes at the end of a Carabao Cup game against, Exeter or something.
That is only going to show him this is what you can do with hard work. Put it in, do your job, and then, see where they can get. So
he does look special, that kid.
Yeah.
He does look good.
So I'm hoping we get to see him this season and
I think
get to see him have a run out.
Amarim's been good at bringing the kids in, and giving them a chance. Tyler Fredrickson played a couple of games at the end of last season. Dorgu's been, you forget Dorgu's only 20.
Yeah.
He's playing a lot of games. Kobbie Mainoo.
Yeah.
Do you know how old he is?
I would say he's probably 21 now.
19.
Is he really?
Yes.
Crikey.
Aiden Heaven is 18. Chido Obi Martin is 17.
Yeah.
It's like you forget because they look pretty. I mean, Aiden Heaven especially. My mum calls him Hayden Evans because she thinks he's funny, and I keep nearly calling him that. Aiden Heaven, he came in and he looked like a 24, 25-year-old, looked
seasoned.
solid. It was a shame he got injured because he looked really good, and he's left-footed, and because they play back three, a left-footed centre back is quite important.
You never used to really find them, did you? Left-footed. There's more of them about now. The old left-footed centre backs. I think in sort of higher levels. It always used to be 2 right-footers that you would always have, but I think to find one. I mean, we're quite blessed with Van der Ven left-footed and Romero right-footed. Although playing the 3 that they're doing now is sort of changing it. But I quite like. I know you were saying obviously that he would play the back 3 at United. And I said earlier on in the season, I didn't know how Franks was going to set the team up. But it looks like he's settled on that sort of 3 at the back now, playing, whether it's Spence and Porro, that further forward sort of wing-back sort of role.
Very, very similar system to Amram's. It is very similar.
I've been really enjoying it because, I was watching in the first game and you had, like, at times Van der Ven, who is now free to go on it. We know he's got pace to burn. So him just blitzing forward, creating an overload in an area because no one's expecting your 6'4" centre-back to run at 90 mile an hour through a channel, just bulldozing his way through. So it kind of adds some elements. But yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see if they can make the system work and if United can really get that system ticking this season.
Well, yeah, I mean, there was definitely flashes of it. I think they gave Arsenal a very good game. And I looked at the stats.
They had the better chances.
I looked at the stats earlier, and the only stat that Arsenal had more of was corners. They had better shots, better possession, better shots on target, better passing, better everything. Man United were provably the better team. But if you can't put the ball in the net, you're not going to win in games. But I think, playing with a false nine of Mason Mount for 70 minutes and only seeing 20 minutes of Sesko, who I think did well.
It's hard to get into the game, isn't it?
It's one of the hardest tests, though, Arsenal. Arsenal are going to push for a title this year. That's why they've bought Gyökeres. And I think that, holding one of the better teams in the league to a game like that, I think is brilliant.
To just score by a sneaky corner.
Considering where they were, even 4 months ago.
Yeah.
But
last year, that would have been 3-4-0, wouldn't
100%,
it? I think. So just the fact that they couldn't even score from open play, they couldn't create chances from open play.
They scored 44 goals the whole season.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous. But yeah, I think the system, you were seeing more of it. De Ligt spent more of the game in midfield than he did in defence, which is part of the system. So the central centre-back moves forward, the other two tuck in and cover two while the wing backs bomb on. And it's quite an interesting system. And I back it, and I like Amorim, and I like his system, and I think that it will work. I think it's what I said, everyone called me delusional back last season, when I kept saying he doesn't have the players. He doesn't have the players to make the system work. He now has those players, and the system worked.
Mostly.
But, well, yeah.
Mostly.
I think he definitely... I mean, if you look at his keeper from Sporting, I can't remember his name, but he was just a fundamental keeper. Like I said, with like De Gea or something like that. So that's definitely what he wants. I mean, he made it public that he doesn't... He likes Onana as a person, but he doesn't like him as a goalkeeper, which is fine. There's no personal issue there. It's not like Rashford or Garnacho or anyone like that. They haven't fallen out.
Yeah, he hasn't done anything wrong. He's just not...
he went to him man-to-man and said, "You're not the player I want." But I don't... you're fine to have around. He's a nice guy. Everyone likes him. All the staff like him. It's it's nothing personal. It's literally just business.
He's just
100%. He's a nice guy.
Man.
Apparently, I mean, I've never met him, but apparently he's a lovely guy and really easy to get on with. But you can't. Man United's not a charity. Do you know what I mean? Just because he's a nice guy, you can't feel guilty and not get rid of him. I don't want to leave. Well, frankly, mate, you haven't got a choice in the matter. You're not good enough.
I don't get this. Not like if he's been told because we have seen it before with United is some players saying I'm going to outlast the manager. The next manager might give me a new lease, and it's like that is such a horrible way to look at it. Like I don't know, maybe it's me and the mentality I have is that I want to work, I want to do my bit, and it's like if I'm not going to play there, I would want to go somewhere else to play to prove my worth, to prove my mettle, to perform.
Which is why I've got more respect for Anthony than I have for someone like Garnacho or Rashford.
Yeah. It's just, I think with Anthony, it's just difficult, isn't it, that he only wants Betis. And if that is the case, that he wouldn't consider anyone else, then, that makes it very difficult because Betis said, no, well, we hold the upper hand in the negotiation. We can sort of try and set terms.
I think this is a new Man United, though. I don't think they'll be bent over. If they're not going to get what they want, they don't care. They'll just sit him in the reserves. Whatever. If you're not going to play, you're not going to play. Whatever.
Yeah.
It's what I hope they do with Garnacho because he's not on a lot of money. Let him rot. You don't dictate to Man United how they do business. And I think with especially on the Chelsea thing, is apparently Chelsea valued Garnacho at £25 million, which is a joke. Like when you
we
look
signed
at
Mohamed Kudus for 55 million.
They sold Madueke for 50.
Yeah.
And Garnacho is a better player than Madueke.
He's done more.
Yeah, he's got. I think it was 21 goals. I think he got in all comps last year, and 14 assists. Like their league, the upper part of the league stats.
Yeah.
And you think he's worth 25 million. But Liverpool have just sold Ben Doak for 25 million. What the fuck has he done?
Yeah, they sold that.
Nothing against Ben Doak. I'm just using you as an example. But
they sold the centre back as well, didn't they, to
Leverkusen? 35
Leverkusen?
million, yeah.
You know, and
It's
you're
just
telling me an attacking player of that age, of that quality.
Yeah.
But is it then, Chelsea seeing it from the sort of mentality of the player?
Don't buy
Go
him.
in, yeah. And that's it, you got to find someone who wants to take a chance. But I think he would be better going somewhere that he can be the main man.
Yeah, well,
I think that's what he needs
came in for him, and he
for
turned
his
him away.
ego. Yeah,
And it's just mad. But the thing is, Man United don't need to be strong-armed. They're not as cash-strapped as they were 12 months ago. They don't need to sell him. So if they're not going to get their valuation, then frankly we can do the other thing. And again, stick him in the reserves, keep him away from the first team. And everyone will forget about him in about 2 months' time. Because no one's talking about him now. He had to go, he thinks he's this fucking star boy that everyone looks at like the next big thing.
that he's Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah,
and it's
the only reason anyone was talking about him over the summer was because he kept doing things that like a little dickhead would do, like wearing the Villa shirt on holiday with Rashford on the back and stuff like that. And people started talking about him. They're not talking about you because of your football ability, mate. They're talking about you because you're a knobhead.
Yes.
And that's not what teams want.
No one cares.
It's like whatever. Like it's just the fact that I've gone, a player I could change my opinion on a player so drastically within like 6 months is ridiculous. Because I thought he was going to be, one of Man United's mainstays. Not necessarily Beckham, but one of the team. In the team for the next 10 years. Do you know what I mean? One of the players that really sticks around, and all because he didn't start a final and wouldn't do what Amrin wanted to do, which was convert him into a 10, basically, because he doesn't play wingers. And when you watched him play, you could see he wasn't in the right position. He used to play right on the touchline like a left winger. And Amrin just must have had enough of it and just gone, if you're not going to do what you're told, you're not going to play. So he didn't play in the final, and then he threw his toys out the pram like a child.
But at the end of the day, is one player more important than the team? No. So it's like, do your job for the team. You're talking about a final. It's like in a final, you've got to be resilient. You've got to just do what you've got to do to win the final. So one thing Spurs have always struggled with, getting over the line when you get there until that one time where everyone seemed to just understand we need to do a job and, be solid, and get it done. But yeah, it's such a shame because I hate to see wasted talent. I hate to see players that, excite me in football and then they just waste because they've got shit attitude. And you're like, mate, you've got this incredible opportunity and you're just wasting it because you want to show off, you want to act like a big man. You're not Ronaldo. Ronaldo has done it for 20 odd years. Do you know what I mean? And prove time and time and time again why.
Ronaldo only started acting like an arrogant twat when he was at Real Madrid after he was the best in the world.
Yeah, but and even then, his arrogance was just simply I am the best, and nobody could dispute that. It was it was almost factual. Do you know what I mean? It's like, a lot of people say about Ibrahimovic, and he's always had that sort of God complex for it. But every team that he goes to wins. They win something. And he says, where I go, we win. That's what I do. And it's like, if you're backing your shit up, you have a right to say it.
There's a difference between mentality and delusion.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, what Garnacho has is delusion. Because he, when I say acting like a twat for Ronaldo, I don't mean there was never anything off the pitch. Mm-hmm. He never got caught in a scandal. He was never, you never found him shagging grannies or whatever it was Rooney did. It was never ever anything off the pitch. The worst you ever heard about him was he broke up with his missus. Do you know what I mean? He is the perfect professional, and it's
trains hard.
Yeah, and lets his football do the talking. And then you can act like an arrogant twat because you are the best.
Yeah.
Garnacho hasn't, he hasn't walked the walk yet. He can talk the talk, but he can't walk the walk.
But also,
he ain't good enough. And it's like...
I think I always look for in teams as well is people that are going to stand up and be counted and people that are going to, do it. And it's like, who would want to go to battle with that man beside you? A man that just doesn't care, only cares about himself, is always trying to show that he's something different to what he is. Just get out there and play football. Do it well. And then, you can say what you want to say. But, and to act like he's more important and that the team can't survive without him, you're like, come on, mate, give it a rest.
I think he lost all of his power, in negotiation and in stand-in when they signed Cunha and Mbeumo. Because they are
better.
Much better, and they suit the system, they're willing to play, they're good lads, and they've come in and they're going to start. Frankly, they don't need you anymore, mate. Like, if you're good enough and you perform better than them, fine. But, you're not... It's not like a few years ago where Rashford knew he was going to play every week because he was the best player we had. It's not like that anymore. I would rather now play one of the kids, James Scanlon or someone like that than Garnacho every day of the week.
I would be intrigued to see if a lot of this is coming from the people around him.
Almost certainly.
Do you know what I mean? And whether he needs to... If he doesn't move by the end of the window and he's still there and Amorim and United say, right, you're sitting in the reserves, do you know what I mean? You're not going to play. Whether he then takes a look at himself and goes, I fucked up. I need to sort this out. And then, makes changes personally around him. And then sort of goes, do you know what? I'm going to put the grind in. I'm going to try and earn my... Because... the player that he is, I think he'd be great in one of those roles.
Not interested.
Float. I know. And I know a lot of United fans will say that. But if you got the player back that you had, he was a great player. He looked like he could be a talent. And
the problem is, Rich, is there's nothing that says that won't happen again. He puts the grind in, he gets back in the team, he starts doing well, and then he starts acting like a twat again. And the problem is he threw the club under the bus. And when you do that, the club and its fans, well, bear in mind there's more Man United fans than any other team in the world, that if they turn on you, the likelihood of you turning that around would take something unbelievably special. And I could only think in the last 10, 15 years of one player that's done it. Harry Maguire. Because Harry Maguire now, I would say, is pretty much solely loved by Man United fans. But there was a 2-year period where he was hated. Like every Man United fan hated him, and he was just like, "Get out of the club. We don't want you." All this,
errors.
He stuck it out, and he did exactly what you just said. He took it on the chin. He accepted that he was the problem. He worked on it. He's come back in, and I would say the perfect manager for him to perform well came in Amorim. Because if you look at Amorim's Sporting team, his mainstay central centre back was Sebastian Coates, who used to play for Liverpool.
No pace,
big lad, good in the air.
Could just do a job.
Who does that remind you of? And he waited it out, because fair play, he nearly went to Villa and West Ham and all this sort of stuff, and he nearly left. But he said, no, I'm going to stay. And I like that, because the only problem...
If you're doing it for the right reasons.
That Man United fans ever had with him was he wasn't good enough on the pitch. I mean, there was that thing in the Canary Islands, wasn't there, where he got arrested and stuff like that. But it wasn't like a big thing, and it was, he never threw the club under the bus.
Yeah,
which is the big difference. So I think that I can't see that even if Garnacho went on some amazing redemption arc, that the Man United fans would ever accept him back because of what he's done. It's the same as Rashford. Rashford will never be welcome back in that club. Because of what he did. He threw the club under the bus. And it's not what you do, especially when, it's very easy to talk shit about Man United at the minute because they've been doing badly. But, when they were winning the Europa League, no one was talking shit about them then. I mean, from the players.
Yeah.
No one was talking shit about them then. But then as soon as things start going bad again, all the training's too hard, all the manager's a dick. I'm like, no, the worst thing they did recently was get rid of Mourinho. The fact that Mourinho got the team he did to second in the league, even he says it, is a miracle.
Yeah.
Because he managed to get that ragtag fucking useless team to second in the league. And it was insane. And it was just a case of every time it starts going badly, they throw the manager under the bus. And unfortunately, after a while, there's a common denominator there, and it ain't the fucking manager. And that's why, like I said earlier, I like Amorim, because he came in and within 5 minutes went, fuck off. And
and
I think
stuck
he's
to
so
it.
far he's got it fucking spot on.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Every single player that he's identified has been a problem. I mean, some of them we knew. Obviously, Sancho we knew was a problem. Anthony we knew wasn't good enough. But like picking out Garnacho, like everyone, he was the star boy.
Yeah.
And yet Amorim,
And it's ballsy to do.
yeah, so
You know,
saw
because-
that and went no.
You also get the thing, a lot of clubs, when they're bringing those younger players through, and especially people that are homegrown, especially now with homegrown players, to say, I don't want this person in my team anymore, I don't want him in the club anymore. Sometimes you will get pressure from above that say, you need to have that person, and the fact that they've accepted it, and I think that's the journey United have gone on, isn't it, is
Especially with the
what
Glazers.
are the actual fundamental issues at this team? And a lot of the time it has been that players are running that team and having too much influence, and they're rotten, and it's I think you're going to have a good year this season.
I hope so. I think most of the building blocks are there. So
Yeah,
even I'm not expecting top 4 or anything like that. Do you know what I mean? I'm not that.
top 10 would be nice.
I'm not one of those delusional fans. Yeah, you can fucking talk.
Well, I'm just saying, from both of our point, I think the first step's got to be you've got to be sort of top 10 in the mix. You want to be top 6.
I think that if all goes well and they keep playing like they did against Arsenal, but they can put the ball in the back of the net a bit more, I don't think 5th's out of the question.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? You look at Newcastle; they're going to lose Isak. They ain't good enough without him.
there
You
was
look
talks
at
that he might sign a new deal. I heard the other day,
right.
because that's where it all started, wasn't it, with him?
Well, because they wouldn't give him that money.
This whole thing is that he said he wanted a new deal. They said, no, we're not going to give you a new deal. Then all of a sudden he wanted to go to Liverpool, all because he didn't get a new deal. And the problem is Liverpool ain't going to pay the money. They ain't going to pay 150.
No.
And Newcastle, it seems, ain't going to let him go for less than 150. So he ain't going to go. They've also said that they need to, get a replacement in. I don't know where they're going to find that with the time left.
Well, they tried, didn't they? But
Yeah, and it just doesn't seem like it's going to be doable. So it looks like he's going to stay. If he does stay, you can't leave a player like that sitting around. He's got to get a route back into the team. But again, he's one of them people. Don't know if you saw his interview the other day, that he was throwing everyone under the bus, throwing it, and you just sit there going, what? He's trying to force it through, and it ain't going to work. And I think when you look at it, it's a shame. Because he is probably one of the best, if not top 3 strikers in the world after last year. And if he has a season that he ain't playing, what a shame for football.
Yeah.
Just sort your shit out, get on with it, and play.
Come Man United in a year, you'll be all right.
You couldn't afford him.
Anyway, I think we should bring this to an end.
Yeah.
It's been a beautiful, beautiful talk.
And what's your predictions for top 6 Premier League? Let us know in the comments.
And if Man United's not in it, I'll ban you. Right.
Peace. Love.